Let it do its thing. Got it. Done. Okay, so we should be live now. I'm gonna maybe I'll just keep this way. It doesn't really matter. All right. So how you doing today, man? How's OP-1 life going for you, man?
Man, it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Uh
good word choice.
some
Definitely a good word choice.
a lot of ups, a couple of downs. I mean, I wouldn't call them downs, but just things that kind of threw me for a loop.
Sure.
Um, you
Figuring it
know,
all out, right?
it's very fun, I will say that. It's right now I'm in the discovery mode, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in the honeymoon phase where I'm discovering new things and new ways to interact with it. Whenever I buy a new piece of gear, I'm more more likely to try to figure out how I want to intuitively interact with it before I try to figure out how it fits into my workflow,
Sure,
you know,
sure,
or try to make it fit into a workflow.
sure.
Um,
Because
so
this is
that's
such a
where I'm
different
at with
piece
it.
of equipment, right?
Man,
Then
it's this is I don't think there is anything else like it on the market, to be
yeah,
honest with you. Um,
agreed.
I
Super
hear a lot
unique.
of people say that um there are synthesizers you can buy and there are pocket, MIDI controllers and other groove boxes, but they're all like way bigger,
Yeah,
don't have built-in batteries, require external power support. Um,
list goes on.
it's just a lot of different things that this little device tackles,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and it's starting to justify the price. Now, I will say this. Uh I did come into it very skeptical
Yeah.
because you know what I mean? Like I see a lot of reviews, I see a lot of the hype about it. And when Henny, I know Henny and you yourself, you guys don't talk about things that you're a lot like me. So we don't
Mm-hmm.
really talk about things that we don't care about or believe in.
Sure, sure.
So when I seen you guys talking about it, I had already been eyeing this thing for 10 years. Well,
Yeah,
the previous version. I had already been
sure.
eyeing it like, yo, I really like it, but I don't think it's quite for me. Right. So I talked to Henny quite a few times about it, even before he got one. And I just didn't feel like it was for me. It just wasn't my cup of tea. It was just something that was on my wish list.
Sure.
Um,
Something that would be nice to have, but do I need it
yeah,
kind of
yeah. But
situation.
now it's kind of turning into a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's a big word there, bro.
it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy after having it for for a week or so. But man, it's changed a lot of things. It's changed my approach to a lot of things, and I
Yeah.
didn't expect that at all. I'm actually um a bit afraid of how much has changed my approach.
Yeah. Well, let me
Um,
ask you this. When you messaged me yesterday, I was in Target with my wife and daughter, and I was like excited to answer that question. You texted me just something about like, yeah, how what is an idea, to integrate this piece of equipment, which, I have mine right down there. So this piece of equipment with some of the other ways that you've made music, like Beatmaker 3 and things like that. And so
yeah,
I'll kind of start off like what I've been having just a ton of fun with. And this is one of many ways to use this piece of equipment. Move the mic back a little bit. One of many ways is like I've been like connecting my iPad to the line in on the OP-1,
okay,
and then I'll go into Core Gadget where that's my Beatmaker 3 for you, right? That's where like all of my iPad music is like most of it, I should say, was created in there. And I've been using Koala in the same fashion, but essentially take one of my
hold
songs.
on give me one
Sure,
second, bro.
sure, sure, no problem. So Big One Tower. How you doing, man? I actually want to see if there's a way. I was going to try to rotate this, but it wasn't quite working the way that I wanted it to. Let me see if I can go up just a little bit more and then rotate. Almost. Oh, maybe I'm going the wrong way. Oh, there we go. That's the way we want to be. Boom. Okay. Let me
My
rotate.
bad, my bad.
You're
Did I
good,
do that?
man. You're good. No worries. No worries. Look, we live. That's what happens when you go live, right? You know what I'm saying? You got to expect the unexpected, you know? Let me
Yeah.
see now if I go. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, I want to be horizontal like you are. But yeah, man, I just been really, really enjoying. So thinking about okay, anything that you've made in Beatmaker 3 or I made in Chord Gadget, and like if we want to sort of quickly change the sound or the feel of what it is that we played, we can like slow the tempo down, right? And make the
Yeah.
tempo slower or whatever. You can also, maybe put swing to it or something like that. But what I love is recording a 4-bar loop onto a tape on the OP-1 field,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
so turning on the metronome area, I'm gonna rotate down here. So like on the metronome area, like I'll go on instead of beat match mode, I'll go on free mode. So like there's no metronome that I need to worry about particularly in this case. Although as I'm saying this, I'm thinking out
See, I
loud for
haven't
a
even
second.
gotten that far yet.
Gotcha. Well, you know what, man? As I'm saying this, I'm like, hang on, there might be even a more interesting way. But for now, I'll just show you what I've been doing, right? So free
Uh-huh.
mode, and then I'll be here. So there's no time markers or anything. And then I'll just go to like a new section and I'll hit loop
Okay.
in. And then I will hit record and play. And then it's like recording, right? And then I'll just hit play on my core gadget beat, let it play through. And then I'll hit
Hmm.
stop. And then I have a section of a song from Chord Gadget that I've created, at which point I have the starting point. I'll like be playing it and then hit the out button like in real time to catch the end point and create
Okay.
instantly creating a loop such as I don't know how loud this is going to be. Okay. Can you hear this?
Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit.
A little bit. Okay. So how do I turn this up? All right. So I can hit so here's an example of a track that I recorded in here, and now it's like I timed it perfectly so I can hit loop in and loop out. And this is essentially just playing what I normally would be playing in Chord Gadget. No, like where's the excitement there? Well, from here now you can like add your OP-1 effects on there, and you can do things like this. This is what I've been doing like a lot, like to change the feel of this. So doing that whole pitch shift thing for
Yeah,
me
yeah,
is
yeah.
like mind blowing on here because now you're like completely changing the feel of something. Obviously, you can
Absolutely.
also go in and change your effects as well and like create something totally different and be able to perform it too. I'll show you this real quick too. Check this out. While you're playing and this is like a trick kind of thing that I kind of learned semi recently, but as as you're playing something while the
Hmm.
while the play is going, you can hold shift and hit right or left, and it will keep playing that loop, and then it's going to move the loop marker to the following loop at the end of that loop. So what that allows you to do is now like basically say for example if you have say if you have like a I don't know a 2-minute song a beat that you've created in Beatmaker 3 where there's different sections like this section doesn't have the drums, this section does, chorus, verse, et cetera. If
Okay.
you recorded that whole thing here, now you can be like looping a certain part that you're looping, and obviously use the tape tricks and things like that, such as like this. Like there's like a tape trick there.
Yep. Yep.
There's reverse here. There's a stutter, so you can be like performing this section, and then say if the next section that you want to go into, I'm gonna like actually do it right now, even though in this case I have a different song that's on the next section, but you'll see how it can move that little yellow loop marker to the part right after in real time. So I just held shift and hit right. I don't know how clear it is or not on here, but basically it's playing this part, and then right at the end of this loop, it's gonna create a loop on the exact next section that goes like this.
Okay. So
Go ahead.
I said it jokingly on one of my posts,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think I might have to eat that. What I
What'd you
said
say?
was now all I need is a TX6.
Oh,
I think I might have to go ahead and look into investing in one now because as it is right now, the OP-1 was almost perfect. And the way I'm thinking about it is that this is, and I might include this whole dialogue into my official review or just even repeat it, but
Hmm.
this is everything that I wished the X Key Air would be in an update. Let's say the X Key Air got an update,
Hmm.
got more modernized, added a screen and
Hmm.
different built-in things.
Sure.
Here it is. This is what it would look like.
Sure.
Except this is much better. The only issue I'm having is now is that they added the ability to use this as an audio interface.
Sure.
However, with the iPad, there's no real loop back capabilities.
I
Right.
think I know what
So
you're talking. I know exactly where you're going. Like using something like Loopy Pro, for example.
Loopy Pro, Beatmaker 3, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I get a lot of doubling, almost like a modulation sound, but I know it's not modulation. So it's like
Sure.
doubling up on my track. And so when I
Yes.
go to record, it's almost like I got to pick and choose whether to monitor it or not.
Exactly. And if you're not monitoring in something like Luby Pro, from my understanding, you're almost like kind of what's the point? Like you need to be hearing what you just created so you can record over that for the next part. And that's
Exactly.
exact. And I haven't even that I know that's what Henny's doing a ton of right now, like in his setup. Like
Yeah.
he's using his TX6 for that very purpose, right? Being able
Yeah.
to, from what I understand, like the way it looks is he's connecting his iPad to the TX6 via USB,
And
right?
then
And that's
everything goes into the iPad
to the
or into
TX6.
the TX6
Correct.
from the
That's going.
TX6 to the
That's
iPad.
exactly right. And so that makes a ton of sense for sure. The TX6, which I have over here, I've been spending a lot more time using it lately. Like right now, I have this freaking like cheap. I have to get a better. Like I get a better cable here. I mean, it's like the cheapest part of this whole rig is like start. I don't know if you could probably can't see it, but like the little hinge or the little intersection there is like basically like not good. I need to get a new one.
I can
But
shoot you
I've been
some cables that I got. I've got them in a cart, man, and that's another
where
issue
from
that I'm
where?
having from
Yeah, from
Amazon.
where? Okay. I bought
Um,
some joints from Amazon. The one like I needed really small ones, like small portable joints, and I
okay,
bought them. But as you can see how small this is, it's they were slightly too big to be able to use all six, so I had to
yeah,
return
yeah, yeah.
those. So it's a
Okay,
trial and error thing because this is like a niche product that 99% of mixers aren't gonna be this close to each other, like the
yeah,
the inputs on there. But yeah,
yeah,
this thing is like this thing for me, the Tia, and I speak through the lens of, I guess unofficially, right, work with TE, as you probably know. I think I may have shared with you, like I have a relationship with them. So I try to be
okay.
super yeah, careful. Well, yeah, I've been on screen. Super careful with how I say like, oh yeah, this is absolutely worth 2,000, or this is absolutely I didn't pay money for these, so I'm not going to speak through those
Gotcha,
lenses, right? But what I
gotcha.
will say is that having this, the TX6 I'm talking about now, and using it in this setup, like right now, I have my iPad I'm talking to you through. I have this headset that hopefully is coming in nice and clear with you, and I've just been loving the ability to have this OP-1 field, the TX6, and the OPZ, just those three, and then this headset that this is the M1 also Teenage Engineering
That's a,
headset that I'm using, and
and
having
what's
this, and I have like a little
crazy. I'm
Pro.
sorry, I didn't
Oh,
mean to
I'm sorry.
cut you
Go
off,
ahead.
but
You're good. Go
what I
ahead.
was gonna say is it was crazy is that these are turning into almost $4,000 setups, right? So if you have the TX6, the OP-1, and the iPad, and
Yeah.
maybe a
iPad.
microphone or a headset, right?
Sure. Sure.
That's about a $4,000 setup, and you would never know it walking into, like, let's say a coffee shop or a diner. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Like you would never know it.
No clue.
And being able to create something like in the room that I'm in now, I got all this, what people would consider fancy gear and racks and sound modules and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Um, Being able to create that stuff on these devices just anywhere. That's kind of how I came up with the quote, um the field trips,
Oh yeah, the one I stole from you. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
my plan is to just go to random places. I think in 2018 I did a lot like what Henny's doing now with the all year round thing. That's
Mm, yeah, right. That's
like
yeah.
seriously, I did a whole month and I was exhausted just
Were you
off of
making a new song every day, something like that, or
yeah. I
posting a
think I
new
called
one?
it New Beat November.
Okay.
And so that exhausted me because of the workflow that it took to get everything connected. I'm screen recording and
Oh
I
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah, yeah.
4 and 5 cameras rolling. My my whole setup wasn't built for that to be
Hmm.
easy. With the OP-1, it's like content. This is like the content creator's dream.
You're
The
right.
whole field series.
You're right.
So um
Especially considering the fact, in my opinion, like the unspoken thing that a lot of people aren't talking about. Oh wow, Big One Tower says right in there, I'm sold. I will be buying the field. So Big One Tower, you got to look out for Brandon Rico's affiliate link, even though neither of us have such a thing right now. But
yeah,
that's
and that's what I'm excited to talk about too, because I'm coming to you guys without an affiliate link, no ties to
right,
teenage engineering, and I
right.
can say that this is premium. This
Yeah,
is this is something to be talked about. This is
for
not something
sure.
to from bat. Let's just talk about battery life.
Hmm.
Battery
Yeah,
life alone
yeah.
makes this worth at least 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's half the price that they're asking for. The
Mm-hmm.
original OP-1, I believe, had a very similar battery life. I think is justified
Agreed.
because how many times have you had to stop your session and charge up your iPad? Your iPad
Yeah.
is
Oh,
doing 30 different things.
yeah.
The OP-1 is doing one thing and that one thing very well. Well,
Right.
not even just one thing, that's a couple, several different things, but it has one job is to get the ideas out. Right.
Right.
And, when it comes to content consumption and creation and editing and all that stuff on the iPads, that's cool. But this is, once again, there's nothing on the market like this, man.
Look,
Not that you can take
I'll say this.
anywhere.
When it comes to all the stuff that we've all the different ways, like you just showed some of your equipment, I have stuff in my home studio as well. And the thing that one of the many things that excites me with the OP-1 field is, okay, I have music that was created on my, flagship Roland Phantom at home, for example, or on the iPad, as I mentioned, or on Ableton, or ones that I've created when I was 16 years old that on my Yamaha motif that I have like stored on a hard drive.
Yeah.
All of these things, and I haven't actually done it like regularly yet, but this is like on my mind of something that's exciting to me for me to do, is like record these different areas, these different musical ideas,
Hmm.
record them directly onto the OP-1 field, and then explore with it, right? Like
Yeah.
utilize the effects that are on here, add some drums to it, like modify what the original sound was to something more creative, more interesting, and then using like just your simple USB-C to Lightning to now like record content like immediately, quickly, easily. That's
Super
one of
easy.
20 different ideas, or workflows or ways of going about using this equipment that just, yeah, man, just makes it exciting. And it looks, I'm just looking at my account. That's why I keep looking down. It's like it looks so like dope and
Yeah,
cool. And I know
I'm
that,
looking at it
it's
on my
inspiring.
desk, man, and it's like
Yeah.
it's it looks like it belongs
Yeah.
because at the same time I'm holding this, I'm looking at my
Oh
my
shoot. Right.
keyboard,
Right.
and it's literally the same
Crazy.
size, if not smaller. It's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah. Yeah.
quite a bit smaller. So it's
Right.
got, and it doesn't feel like this at all because this doesn't feel cheap. But this is the same type of material, and it feels heavier. It feels it's not even how much I pay for it. It's and you know how you get something and you want to baby it and you cherish it because of how much you paid for it.
Sure.
this, if I would have paid, let's say $500 for this, still feels the same. It feels like what it costs.
Hmm.
And that says a lot because I don't get gear that feels like what it costs often.
Yeah. What have you been doing with it as of late? Have you been like creating like the stuff you sent me the first day? I was like kind of blown away with how good it sounded. Usually the first stuff you make on a new piece of equipment is not going to sound that good. You
And
know, you
that's
start
what
figuring
I
stuff
said. I
out.
was like, yo, if I can make this in 40 minutes
Yeah, that
of
was
just,
crazy.
I'm fumbling around with it. I just started binge watching that day, right after I got finished with it. I started binge watching content from it, from Red Means recording,
Yeah,
um
Cuckoo
uh
maybe, or it might have some stuff, or Andrew Wan. Like these
San
guys.
Wu.
San Mu, yes, he's good. He got a lot of good stuff. Good
Oh
tutorial, great
man,
tutorials. Yeah, yeah,
very, very good
yep,
breakdown, and is very good at explaining it. Um a couple of other creators, and then B Jamming since birth has been very, very
yeah,
helpful.
yep.
Um
Oh, you guys been in touch since the sale
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
he's
really
a
good
great
guy,
dude.
man. Yeah.
Definitely.
He's been very helpful. Whenever I got questions, I'll shoot him, so with this being that type of recording built in, like I said, it's just, it reminds me of what I wished the X Key Air was. Now,
Hmm.
what I will say too is that I do still feel the need to carry the X Key Air with me
Hmm.
because of the expression that I can get out of the X Key Air. I
We
do a
gotta talk
lot of,
about that
yeah, I do.
expression, meaning velocity sensitivity.
No. So velocity
Expression.
sensitivity is there now with the
Yeah,
OP-1, which is,
yeah.
that was actually what
Clutch.
sold me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because the drums and stuff with that is it now makes it a lot more fun to do drums on there. Which also have you in that on that same update have you because at first I didn't even really think I was going to care about this that much, but the when you're in your tape, if you hold shift, if you rotate this button here, you can now record all the way to the right channel or all the way to the left
Yeah, you
channel.
can pan left and right. Yeah.
So that
So
wasn't always that's a
I
big
found that
deal,
out
right?
the first 15 minutes of
Okay.
doing that. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
how come I haven't seen anybody talk about that yet?
Yeah. Because it wasn't there at first. I think that came in the same update as the velocity sensitivity,
So,
which is big, man, for hi-hats and all kind of stuff like that, you know?
and so I think I recorded, if anybody's watching that's following me on Instagram, I recorded something like that, and I forgot to pan it back a little. I had
Oh,
like a shaker that
yeah.
was shaking a little bit too loud in the left speaker, and I forgot to pan it back, but it was just like a showcase of, look, you can do this now.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I
yeah, yeah.
mean? Like,
For sure, for sure.
as opposed to before everything was in one mono. It's really showcase. It's like a flex on the stereo update that they included inside of the
Yeah.
OP-1.
I'll say two things too. I'll say I love the speaker in this as well immensely. So obviously, if you're doing some serious stuff, you're gonna have headphones on, right? But
Yeah.
for me, like the other day, dude, I was at my parents' house. My daughter was there, and I was doing a line in. Yeah, it was just so much fun. I got to do some more of this. I was doing a line in with my iPad, and I was like getting song requests from my parents, and they were like, "Oh, play such and such, play such and such." And so I was just kind of I was playing the songs from my iPad, YouTube Music through the OP-1 speakers, right? Just like with the monitor button or whatever. And
Yeah.
then when I was like, oh, this is another thing that's so much fun. When I'm like, oh, this is a cold, break in the song, or this would be dope to sample or whatever. Immediately go right to the tape track, immediately record it, and then immediately pitch it down or pitch it up, loop it. And you can do that so fast. And
Man.
my dad always jokes around because he's like, he just wants to hear the actual song. I don't want to hear it slowed down. I don't want to hear, anything. I'm like, no, you're gonna hear it how I wanna play it right now.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just it's the speakers. I guess the point I was gonna make with that, the speakers are extreme, in my opinion, extremely good and proficient at
No,
being
yeah, they're
able
definitely
to,
usable.
yeah, right, just to get those ideas down. And then I haven't been spending a lot of time at all, very little, if any, like in the sequencer mode. Like there's several sequencers for your music and for your drums and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this. I see the face you're making. I'm gonna say this. This is like one of my next things to do. The finger drum sequencer and the finger, synthesizer one, but specifically the drums. When you're what I'm going to be working on is like, so here's, oh no, that's in
I
drum
love the
mode.
animations. The
Oh,
screen, it's everything about it is
oh my
just
God.
it's
It's
very glossy.
yes, it's just like it just yeah, it's super dope.
Yeah.
Check this out. Here's a drum sequence created, and that probably was on here already when I bought it, right? A drum sequencer. And what I want to do, what I want to work on is I want to create my own drum sequences. Like this is like a no-brainer idea, right? Like you can obviously create your own ones. These are like ones that come by default, but you can delete them. And like I want to learn this sequencer and create my own drum sequences. And now you could use those in your songs.
Okay.
It sounds very simple or very basic, but I guess essentially having like some go-to drum patterns that you sequence yourself that are like dialed in the way that you like them, and that can be, and it can be just like the skeleton of a drum pattern, and then you're adding your own unquantized stuff when you're recording
Got
over
you.
it. But
Okay.
that's something that I definitely plan to kind of learn better. And like you said, man, the animations are gorillas. I mean, come on, of course you want to be on
Yeah.
the screen doing that, you know?
Yeah. So I'm not a big fan. And we talked about this even before I bought it. When I was trying to figure out if I was gonna buy it or not.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not a huge sequencer guy. I don't do a lot of house type music, or music that requires like constant repetitive rhythms.
yeah.
I do a lot of movement, so especially like with hip hop and R&B especially. There's a lot of movement, there's a lot of variation, there's a lot of uh yeah, no quantize involved.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so my idea with this was that even with this being recording to tape, is that I'm getting away from quantize now.
yeah.
And that was something that I
Yeah,
heavily relied on in like software instruments. Even with Beatmaker 3, I heavily relied on quantize to give me that right on the nose, those
yeah,
feelings,
exact.
right?
For sure, for sure.
Um, this is kind of challenging me to be more tactile. And I
Hmm.
always can already consider myself a tactile musician. Uh, I like things that I can tap on, touch, and feel. I don't like clicking in stuff. I don't like the machine doing my work for me.
Hmm.
It doesn't feel gratifying.
Hmm.
It's not rewarding.
And there's no
Um,
shade towards the people that do, but it's not
yeah,
for you
yeah, no
and not to
shade.
me,
It's just
right?
not my. It doesn't. I don't feel it.
Sure, sure.
It's not my body language. It's a algorithm. So
Yeah, yeah,
if that's your vibe, that's yours. But for my workflow, I'm trying to get away from letting. We're going into an age where AI is doing a lot of the work that
yeah.
expression is supposed to kind of reign free,
And
right?
that's a dangerous is a general word, but it's an interesting thing how things are going, but it's something that to be mindful of and to be careful about, like
Yeah, I
having Chat
mean,
GPT title
somebody
or
explained it to me when everybody was doing that the AI trend where you turn yourself into a
oh
cartoon.
yes.
And I'm guilty of it. I participated.
Hmm.
I posted mine on Instagram, and
Hmm.
you know,
It was
I
dope and
didn't what I
interesting.
didn't realize.
Uh-huh.
It's a dope thing to look at, but what I
Yeah.
didn't realize is that it's being um there were real artists that actually created those the foundation of those artworks,
Hmm. That we're not
and
getting
so
credited or something, or
not getting credited at all.
okay.
And when I thought about that,
Uh,
um, you have an algorithm that are taking pieces of artistry,
yeah, yeah,
people doing real work, putting real time in, putting real effort and expression into these art pieces, and we just click a button and call it our own, or and
yeah.
now it's our intellectual property.
Yeah. That's dangerous.
That's very dangerous. And I thought about what would that world look like in the music world?
Oh my
And
goodness. I mean,
and when I thought about that deeper, it's already been happening.
yeah.
Um, and no shade to Splice or any of the royalty loop making community. Because I'm guilty of contributing to the loops and things like that people can
Sure.
use, put a filter on it and call it their own.
Sure.
Because I made a huge living off of selling my own private loops and letting people take the credit for it, as long as I
Right.
just get paid on the back end, right?
Right.
But where it becomes dangerous is that the expression is lost. And I think that the OP-1 is bringing that back for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't used Splice. Actually, I don't think I've ever used a loop from Splice the way that I think they are traditionally intended. So
Yeah.
for things to be recorded to tape like this is like I have to be the one inputting. So I don't have any
Mhm.
interest in bringing in loops to recreate, or I might sample from the radio every now and again
Mm.
to get some crazy textures or something
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
But I don't think I have any interest, because with your workflow with bringing stuff from the iPad into the
Sure.
OP-1, I thought that that was
Yeah.
very interesting.
Mhm.
I don't think that that's quite a thing for me. I think
Yeah.
that Beatmaker 3 already does a really good job of pitching up and down. I think
Okay.
Beatmaker 3 actually has a very good algorithm for pitching
Okay.
things up and
Gotcha.
down
Gotcha.
without
It's
even
already
changing
there.
the tone,
Gotcha.
you know.
So
So
you're thinking more so through the lens of, and that's why I love these conversations. So what it sounds like you're saying is like with your OP-1, you're acknowledging the fact that this has everything and then some in terms of, sound capabilities built in. So you're looking at this as a place where you want to create stuff from scratch specifically on here. And as you're saying
exactly.
that, I'm saying to myself like, that's something I really haven't done really at all yet. I've done that on the Z, created from scratch sequences and stuff, but I've only mostly brought stuff in here and then manipulated it further. But I love the
Okay.
idea of what you're saying. And I love the fact that everyone has their different ways. And that's what's so cool
That's what
about
I
this.
was
There are
gonna
different
say.
ways of
Yeah.
having fun musically with it, which is incredible. I'm going to share two more quick things and I got to dip. I'm actually about to go play some piano right on that stage in a couple of minutes. So,
Nice. Nice.
I was going to say that, and this is maybe food for thought. I want you to think about it. You may not have an answer yet because you're still new with the piece of equipment, but I'm curious
Mhm.
to know from you and from maybe anyone watching this. Let me know in the comments later. It's a very thoughtful question. One, it's basically two features that I'm wondering if people would want in the OP-1 field or definitely demonstratively don't want. One of them is an undo button, and we're going to talk about this literally
Absolutely.
next time. And then the second one, you say absolutely okay. Second one is the ability to quantize your notes that you're recording onto tape. Those are the two questions. I'm gonna bounce now because I got to go start getting ready. But I want you
Okay.
to think about that. I want to hear maybe next time we do one of these. I mean, I'm down to do these as often as you want because this is
Yeah.
like
Hey, we
this
can
is
do it
easy
every day if you
money,
want. This is nice.
right? That we got literally 12 people in the live. I think that's the most maybe I've had ever, or maybe definitely in a long time, which
Nice.
is dope.
Nice.
So hopefully people got value from this. I definitely did. Looks like you did as well. And I'll hit you up. We'll do another one of these real soon.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm
All right.
down.
Have a good
All right.
one.
Good talking to you, man.
Yes, sir. Always.